What is up? We're gonna take a look at this Geissele Super Duty pistol 10.3. So this is the Geissele Super Duty pistol. It's got a 10.3 inch barrel. It's chambered at 5.56. It's a really well balanced, robust weapon. But let's kind of first get into the price. Because on the surface, I'm going to tell you, these things, the list price on this thing is $2,150, $2,150. Sounds pretty high. You know, street price is probably going to be right around $2,000. You know, might be able to get one for $1,900 or something like that. But it sounds expensive. I mean, I get it. It sounds really expensive. So what does that all get you? And I'll just tell you right now, if you were going to really build, if you were going to put every part that's on this gun and build it yourself with, let's just say, an Aero Precision upper and lower, you know, it's going to be in the same range. I mean, in the sense that this thing has about every high-end part Geissele makes. The best of everything they make is on this gun. Some examples. So it has the Geissele charging handle, which is a really great charging handle. It's got the trigger that you can only get on this gun, which is the SSA-X. It's the government trigger with a lightning bow shape, which is only available on this Super Duty line. And my first impression of this trigger was that it's a little heavier than a normal SSA. So I called Geissele because I was really curious about this, and it's actually not an SSA, it's an SSA-E, so it's the enhanced version of that trigger. It still doesn't feel to me like a normal SSA-E trigger. It's still, especially that first stage, seems a lot heavier. But we're going to shoot it today extensively, so we'll see. Some modifications I've made to this. It comes with a Surefire muzzle device, which, you know, I got no problem with that, but I ripped it off, pulled it off, and put a cherry bomb so I could run a Q Trash Panda suppressor. I'll tell you one thing, after just kind of looking at this gun, it is absolutely built bomb-proof. I mean, that muzzle device, let me tell you, was not easy to get off. And I've taken off a lot of muzzle devices, so it was certainly installed right. Looking at that gas block, so this thing has the super compact, the Geissele super compact gas block, which is not adjustable. I would like to have seen an adjustable gas block on this gun, but if you look at how that fucking thing is installed, I mean, it is over installed. They've done a tremendous job installing that thing. It's just, I mean, so by those two things right there, I think you can kind of gauge the overall build quality of this weapon. It seems overbuilt. It seems like they've taken everything to the extreme, and it's just going to be a very solid, robust weapon. In terms of some other parts, this has their Super 42 buffer system in an H3. I actually love that. It's a great buffer system. It has their enhanced bolt carrier group, which, you know, I haven't had too much experience with. I know it's pretty freaking expensive. It's like $300 and some. So anyway, enough talking. Let's go out and shoot this thing. And I've got it set up right now, like I said, with a Q cherry bomb. I've got a Trash Panda suppressor, and I've got an Aimpoint Comp M4 on it. That's the only modifications I've made. All right, so before we get into the shooting impressions, let me just make a couple comments here, and I definitely need to clarify one thing. This weapon comes with a Surefire muzzle device, and I did not even shoot this weapon with it attached, and that's because my intent is to always put a suppressor on this. I'm generally no fan whatsoever of the AR pistol chambered in 5.56. This certainly did not change my mind, at least without a suppressor. So it comes with a really cool Surefire muzzle device, and I'm kind of kicking myself for not at least running a few rounds through it, but things just didn't work out. I had to get that muzzle device switched out, and I had a couple other guns to do, and anyway, I just didn't get it done. So all of my shooting impressions on this thing are based on having a Q cherry bomb on the end. Anyone that knows anything about the cherry bomb knows that it's a terrific suppressor host and a pretty shitty muzzle device without a suppressor. And that certainly held true with this fucking thing. It basically turns this, I mean, this thing is a flamethrower, man, with that Q cherry bomb on here. I mean, you want to go to your local gun range and drive everybody out, you roll in with this thing and do a couple mag dumps. I mean, it's obnoxiously loud. It's concussive. It's just everything I don't like about an AR pistol. But just keep that in mind that when I'm talking about the shooting impressions, it's based on having a cherry bomb on the end and not the Surefire muzzle device that it comes with. Shooting impressions of this thing. It ran 100%. There was absolutely no malfunctions. It's incredibly smooth. That trigger, which is the SSA-X, which Geissele tells me is basically an SSA-E enhanced trigger, but with a lightning bow, and it's only available on these Super Duty weapons. I got really used to it really quick, and I really enjoyed shooting with it. This thing has the Geissele Super 42 buffer system, which is really one of my favorites. It has the Airborne charging handle, which I'd be hard pressed to find any faults with that. This pistol grip is interesting. It's marked Geissele. I don't really know who makes it. It's probably not Geissele, but I didn't have any issues with it. It's pretty aggressively stippled, and you know, both me and my son, who's 13, really liked it. He commented he really liked the pistol grip. On the other side, you know, this thing has the Geissele Maritime bolt catch, bolt release, which is amazing. I use it all the time. And you'd be hard pressed to build a better or to find a better AR pistol. I mean, basically the parts on this thing are about as good as you're going to get. I mean, there's really no parts on this that you need to get rid of. Now, the safety, it's an ambi safety, and it actually really reminds me of what comes on like a Knight's Armament SR-15. Very similar. That's probably the only thing I'm going to switch out. I'll probably put a 45-degree radian on here. But that's really being nitpicky. I mean, the thing is just great. What's the verdict? Should you buy one of these fucking things? The short answer to me, if you're not going to put a suppressor on it, don't buy one. It is absolutely no fun to shoot without a can. Okay, bottom line. And also I bought this one, which is the 10.3. I think if I had to do it all over again, I would get the 11.5. Get that little extra dwell time. I think the difference between the 10.3 and 11.5, to me, it's often surprising how much more enjoyable the 11.5 is over the 10.3.
And you know, if they made the 12.5, I would probably get that over both of these. But I think if you're not going to run a suppressor, I would blow off both of the pistols and get the 14.5-inch version. I think that's a much better gun for shooting non-suppressed. But all three of them, the 10.3, the 11.5, and the 14.5, you know, that's pinned and welded, so it's 16. Every single one of these is absolutely top notch. I mean, again, it's hard to go through here and pick a part that isn't great. When you look at the build quality, the muzzle, the muzzle device, let me tell you, that was the hardest muzzle device I've ever taken off a gun. That thing was so freaking tight. I mean, it was just a chore to get it off. The gas block, it's absolutely bomb-proof. I mean, just if you really examine how this gas block was put in, I mean, it's impeccable. So this whole rifle, or this pistol, or the rifle, I mean, everything's top quality, man. And it's top quality parts and it's built right. So, again, the verdict, I would not buy the 10.3 or the 11.5 pistol unless I was going to put a suppressor on it, period. If you can't own a suppressor, if you don't want to mess with a suppressor, which I understand, buy the 14.5-inch version. I think any way you slice it, whichever one you go with, suppressed or unsuppressed, they're great. See, this is definitely the deal right here. You put a can on the end of this, and this thing is basically an AR with a 16-inch barrel, and you talk about a joy to shoot. With this Trash Panda, with this titanium suppressor, I mean, you can barely feel it on this fucking thing. I mean, I'll tell you what, I don't know how you could have a better AR pistol if you wanted to build one or buy one than something like this. You know, I've been wondering, is Geissele going to make this thing in 300 blackout? Because I'll be the first one to say that I am not a fan of AR pistols chambered in 5.56 at all. But I am a big fan of AR pistols chambered in 300 blackout. I mean, that's what 300 blackout was designed for. I mean, it excels in a short barrel, where this is hindered by it. So anyway, I'd love to see this in a 300 blackout.